And welcome to this lesson where we will investigate piracy of music and DVDs. Now, I'm sure you all know what piracy is. It's when you make an illegal recording of someone else's work. Piracy is a major problem for movie makers and music artists, and many people don't realize what a bad effect buying fake products has on the entertainment industry.
Well, how are you doing today, Dawn?
I'm cool, and I can see you're very happy.
Oh, yes, I am.
So do you want to share with us?
Well, my friends and I checked out this hot new movie that hasn't even been released yet.
Oh, yeah? So how did you manage that?
Easy. I got the DVD from a guy on the side of the road.
So you mean to tell me you bought a fake DVD? You do realize that's illegal?
But don't think about it, okay? Going to movies nowadays is so expensive. You'd have to pay something like 30 Rand for a single movie ticket. And if I were to take my friend with me, it would cost us like 60 Rand. But for 100 Rand, I can check out the movie, which is fake, of course, and I can check it out with all my friends, and I can keep it for later, which is pretty cool. I mean, I think that fake DVDs is the way to go.
Dear Isalai, I think there are a few things you need to know about pirated DVDs. Besides the fact that the quality of the pirated DVDs or CDs is never as good as the real thing, there's still the issue of copyright.
Come to think of it, I once bought a fake DVD and I could actually see the people in the cinema stand up and walk in front of the screen. The quality wasn't so great and the sound was actually pretty bad. But what is copyright?
Well, this is what we will be dealing with today. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to discuss the term copyright, identify the four main categories of piracy, discuss the effect of piracy on the movie and music industry. Let's start by discussing copyright. Imagine that you've invented a wonderful new rocket-propelled sports shoe that lets you run faster than anyone else.
Oh, wow, I would definitely make a fortune.
Indeed you would, except that someone else has come along and made an illegal copy of your rocket shoes. Now your special product is being sold all over the place and you aren't making a cent because someone else stole your idea and your design.
But that's not fair.
You're right, Salai. It's not fair. If you go to the trouble and expense of creating something new, you don't want someone else to steal it before you can get any money back. That's why you need to copyright your creations. Copyright is a legal right that companies and individuals have to protect and control the ways that their products are used or sold. So, if a product is copyrighted, it means that it belongs to the copyright holder and may only be used according to their conditions. If you break the copyright, you become guilty of stealing someone's private property.
And what happens if you break copyright?
Well, in South Africa, anyone who unlawfully copies a product that is copyright could face a severe penalty. The maximum sentence is a fine of 5,000 Rand and or 3 years imprisonment for each illegal copy that you possess.
Man, that's harsh. So, how long does copyright last?
Okay. Once a product has been copyrighted, it remains valid for 75 to 95 years after the product has been developed. In the case of a book or a movie written by an individual, the copyright will stay in place for 75 years after the author dies.
And what happens after the copyright expires?
The work goes into something called the public domain, where anyone can use it for free.
So the family of a guy who died hundreds of years ago, like Shakespeare or Beethoven, will not get any money from copyright.
That's right. They've been dead for far too long. The thinking is that you will make the most money in the first few years after you release your product, and eventually your work will become part of history which belongs to everyone. Besides, the idea of an everlasting copyright is very difficult to enforce.
Okay, Dawn, I get the concept of copyright, but how does me buying a fake DVD from the guy on the street affect copyright? I mean, I still paid for it after all.
Yes, Salah, you paid, but do you think the people who made the movie will get any money you paid?
I suppose not, but so what?
Look, let's start at the beginning. Have you ever wondered about what goes into the making of these movies?
Sure, I've seen those behind-the-scenes shows on TV.
Okay, first, someone writes a screenplay or a book. Then the producers buy the rights to this book or screenplay so that they can make a movie out of it. Now, the producers must raise enough money to make the movie. They show the project to movie studios and other investors until they get enough money to make the film. When they have enough money, they hire the actors and a film crew. Then they build the sets, shoot the movie, edit the film, do the special effects, and release the film onto circuit. And how much do you think all this costs?
I don't know, but I suppose it depends on the movies. But I'm thinking it must cost a lot of money.
Well, the most expensive movies can cost more than $100 million to make, and that's before they start advertising. That's over 500 million rand just to shoot a film.
Oh, wow.
And how do you think they ensure that their investment is repaid?
I suppose they rely on ticket sales, VHS and DVD sales to make all their money back.
Correct. So what do you think happens when you buy a pirated DVD?
The producer doesn't make the money back. Okay, I get what you're getting at. But hey, the people from Hollywood already have enough money. I mean, what's a few dollars here and there?
No, Salai, that's not the point. The people who invest money in movies do it as a business proposition. If there's no chance of making a profit, they won't invest. And if investors don't invest, movies won't get made. It's as simple as that.
So what you're saying is that when I buy a fake DVD, that sale is not added to the proceeds of the movie and the film does not make a profit.
Good Salai, now you're beginning to understand. The guys selling DVDs and CDs at the roadside or in a flea market are usually not part of the official distribution network. This means that these sales are not accounted for and the proper copyright royalties are not being paid. It also means that those people who watch the DVD will not go and pay to see the movie in a cinema when it's released. That loses even more money for the studios. Then, if the pirated DVD is lent to a few friends or family members, even more sales are lost. And this isn't just happening with a few people. In 2004, over 500,000 fake DVDs were confiscated, and this doesn't include other pirated formats such as music CDs, PlayStation games, and PC games.
Wow, that must add up to a lot of money.
It does. And when it's no longer possible for a company to make money from their products, they're going to stop making them. Now, imagine a world with no movies, no music, and no games. It's not a pretty thought now, is it? Apart from that, think also of all the people who had been making an honest living but are now out of work.
I see what you're getting at, but how do I know if DVDs and CDs are genuine? Sometimes when I go to the flea market, stalls sell real DVDs and sometimes they sell fake ones. How can I tell the difference?
To find out more, why don't we have a chat with someone from the South African Federation Against Copyright Theft, or better known as SAFACT.
Hi Dawn, it's Fred Potgieter here from SAFACT, the Southern African Federation Against Copyright Theft. I know you want to know more about how to identify pirate DVDs from originals, and perhaps I can go straight into that and show you and tell you what the differences are. There are basically four real differences that we look for: the IFPI code, the regional coding or zoning of a disc, the release dates of course, and the film and publications classification that you need to see on these discs. The IFPI code is a very small numeric code that is found on the inner ring of a disc. This code enables us to tell us where this disc was manufactured, if it was an original disc, who manufactured it, and it helps us to try and trace the product. The regional coding or zoning of a disc is also important, specifically from the major American studios. This would be a zone. South Africa is a Zone 2 country or Zone 2 territory, the same as Western Europe. USA and Canada is Zone 1, for example, and the whole world is divided into 6 different zones or regions. A lot of the pirate DVDs are released long before they are actually available in the cinemas, and in most cases they're not even available on DVD, original DVDs, anywhere worldwide. So when you see DVDs available in the streets and flea markets that are still showing in the cinemas in this country or haven't even started in the cinemas, then that would certainly give some rise for suspicion and would more than likely indicate that it is a pirated copy. The film publication for classification is a very important guide for parents to see that this film is in fact suitable as I say, for the audience that it is intended. There are various forms of piracy that we deal with. Simple piracy is just where one would go and make a copy of a film, of music, with no sophisticated labeling, sleeves being printed or anything like that. It's just a straightforward copy, and you generally find these being offered sometimes on the sides of the streets, but at flea markets or otherwise people are swapping these amongst themselves. Counterfeits, which is of course the biggest problem that we're facing, is where one really can't very easily tell the difference between the original and the pirate copy because they've actually counterfeited it. The definition of a counterfeit is an imitation of an original product. The internet piracy is actually an interesting one because they will download MP3s and share it with their friends. This is file sharing or peer-to-peer piracy, and that is certainly the case with films in Europe in a big way at the moment, and that will be coming this way as well.
Let's look at these different types of piracy in more detail. Simple piracy is the unauthorized copying of an original recording and then selling it to make money. These pirated copies are usually much cheaper than the originals, but the quality is inferior. Then you get counterfeits. These are pirated products that have been copied and packaged to look just like the originals. Even the logos and trademarks are reproduced so that when you buy the product, you believe that you're buying the real thing.
And what about bootlegs?
Bootlegs are made when a person illegally records a live broadcast and then sells this recording without obtaining the copyright holder's permission. Famous musicians like Bob Dylan often had bootleg tapes of his concerts going around. Then there's internet piracy. This is the fastest growing type of piracy today.
Yeah, I have friends who download music, games, and movies from the internet. Surely this is legal.
Well, it depends on what you do with the files after you download them. Copyright laws apply to anything you download from the internet. This means that if you do download an article, you may only store it on your computer system for personal use. If you want to reuse this information in a public space, like on your own web page, you have to get permission from the copyright owner.
So what about music and movie downloads? Are they legal?
Well, that depends on where you download them from. Some websites like the iTunes site offer legal downloads of music for a fee. Part of this fee is paid over as a royalty to the copyright holders of the song. This payment makes these song files perfectly legal. The quality is also guaranteed, and over the last year, people have downloaded millions of music files from iTunes. But for every legal download site, there are a dozen pirates. These pirates illegally record music onto their computers and then make these files available for other internet users to download. This means that the original artists do not get any money for their product.
So what can we do to stop piracy?
Measures to solve this problem have already been put in place. ISPs have been given greater responsibility to control what is viewed by their users, and people are being encouraged to use the legal downloading sites.
But why does music and DVDs cost so much money? I mean, I'm sure if they were cheaper, we wouldn't have to pirate them in the first place.
Well, Salah, you may have a point there. But remember, musicians and production companies make their money from music. If this music is sold too cheaply, it means that these people can no longer make a living. Ultimately, this would mean no more music. Remember, piracy is a criminal offense, and if you choose to buy or download pirated products, then you are in fact stealing from the people who've produced them. Companies, schools, universities, and international copyright laws take piracy very seriously. So next time a friend offers you pirated music, movies, or games, play your part and say no.
Well, Dawn, I think that you have convinced me. Next time, I certainly will say no.
Well, on that note then, here's your task. Write down your definitions of copyright. Make a table to list the 4 categories of piracy and find 2 examples of each kind and write them down in your table. Write a paragraph on the effect of piracy on the music industry. Well, I hope you enjoyed this lesson on piracy. Remember to visit our website for more information. Until next time, goodbye.